I've been a big fan. I'm not sure we've met before, really. Have we met in the past? Have we met, Kieran?
Oh, Richard.
I thought you might have a story.
I've not only got a story.
I've got a bag. You've got a video
and
of the terrible things we did.
And in the bag is my diary from the year 2007.
Okay.
And there's a bookmark to page May the 14th. Right.
Yeah.
So this
May the
is 14th. So many years ago.
Look at this diary. This is a very neat diary of a serial killer.
Yeah, absolutely tiny writing. It's
writing.
Mostly what sandwiches I ate. But I was 19 at the time, and I was a student at Oxford, and I was in the Oxford Review. And you and Emma Kennedy were kind enough to come and do a workshop with us.
Oh yes, I remember.
That day at the old fire station, and you were the great alumni, and you came back and gave up your time because you were doing a gig that night.
Yeah.
Of Ménage à un, I think.
I think it probably was. Yeah.
And so I wrote down, and this is. Do you want to hear?
Yeah, I would love to hear it as long as it doesn't go into Jeffrey Epstein territory.
So I'm going to have to skip over some of the more tedious things that I wrote down. Literally I got a tuna and cucumber bagel for my sandwich on that day. So I went down George Street to the OFS, Old Fire Station, via a brief visit to Sainsbury's to buy some Sensations crisps, none of which Richard Herring eventually ate. Tom, Lee, Caitlin and I met in the lobby, blah, 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 blah. Where began some criticism of the blurb for our new show flyer, a blurb which I had written. I kept quiet. Richard turned up at 2, accompanied by a friend of his and fellow comedian Emma Kennedy. And then we went up to a workshop, basically, and we did 4 of our sketches for you. After all of which, Richard and Emma would give a long response, saying what worked and what didn't, what we should be aiming for, and various pieces of sundry comedic advice. Be funnier, I'm sure. In between all of this came little biographical details and a description of the Oxford they had known as students 20 years ago. After 2 productive and enjoyable hours, we said our thank yous and took some pictures before going our separate ways. And then I want to hear from your account.
This warming up.
Yeah, so
is it working? I hope it's working.
Microphone working? I hope the microphone's working. It isn't working.
No, it's been off.
It's gone off. Oh no. Lost the mic.
I have mine for the minute.
Okay, I'm back on the mic, and this is what you said about that day, which is a little bit more poetic and less about the sandwiches. So I went in to meet some of the students in this year's Oxford Review, listen to some of their sketches and offer them some advice. My old Oxford Review colleague, TV's Emma Kennedy, came along to chuck in her 2 pence worth. I think she is overvaluing herself. The students weren't a bad bunch, and their sketches showed some promise, but it was a little sobering to be reminded of those days 20 years ago when Emma, Stu and me were in the same position, writing and putting together our first Edinburgh show. One of the girls who was at the workshop had not been born the first time we did the Edinburgh Fringe, though I was relieved to work out that everyone in the room had been alive when Emma and me were in the Oxford Review in 1988. The girl might only have been 3 months old, but she was alive and out of her mother, and that is all that counts to me. It officially means I am not old and decrepit. We had such a hard year in Edinburgh in '88 that it was enough to pretty much put Emma off becoming an actor and comedian, and seriously dented my confidence as a performer, leading to my mistrust of the medium of stand-up.
I've got a lot to cover with that.
Yeah, okay, we'll get that. And then
I've got a lot to process with that, so I'm going to work through it in the next few years.
Right. It would take Emma 7 years to return to the profession that she was surely born for, as she is useless at doing anything else and merely competent at writing and performing. To see these young faces so full of hope and dreams was slightly depressing. Soon their hearts will be run through a mangle and their dreams sucked up by the gigantic dream hoover and buried in the landfill of broken aspirations. My main note to them all was to keep their sketches as brief as possible, aware that they were going to come and see me tonight talking about a potato for 20 minutes and old people on a bonfire saying pretty much nothing for even longer. But you have to learn the rules before you can break them. Hopefully we helped them a little bit overall. by which I mean I pray that my correct advice was strong enough to outweigh all the poor advice that Emma gave them. So there we go.
Let's see if yours is working yet.
Yeah, it's back on. Great. And
we're all tangled up. It's got very sexy very early.
So there we go. And I remember you made a comment about the Sensations crisps, and we had them on a little pile to sort of impress the visiting dignitary. And you were like, guys, get real. Days are coming. If you want to do this, when there ain't going to be none of these fancy crisps for you. And so, in honour of that, I brought you as a present some Sensations
Thank
crisps.
You very much.
This
time I have to eat my words by eating these Sensations crisps.
Anyway, so that was a memorable day in 2007.
I don't remember you from that. I remember it happening. I remember nothing else about it. It's good having that blog because seriously, pretty much it's more since I've had kids. But I can't remember anything I've done in the last 10 years, and so I can go back and look and go, oh yeah, I can read my blog and go and be quite entertained by it because it doesn't. I don't remember any of the
silly
events.
Man and his silly adventures. Yeah.
Luckily, well, that's nice. That's nice that. Wasn't I kind to go back to the Oxford Review?
Very kind. Very kind. And the advice was very good. I mean, we had lots of we were all sort of 18 and 19 and desperate to sort of impress with the sketches and look at all the books we've learned, and look at all the history we can make jokes out of. And one of your notes has stayed with me forever. It was like, guys, cut out all the clever stuff. You don't need it. You're not appealing to an audience with it. That's for you, and we don't need it. And it's stay with me. And something that I sort of try and live by is
that's good. I've lived by it, and look where it ended up. Just doing cock jokes for 40 years. Well, lovely. Well, we have met before then, but I sort of came to know your work, I guess, through your online stuff. That you would.
Yes.
There was a lot. There was a big period where you were putting out. It seemed to be. Was it lockdown basically where you're putting out all these?
Yeah, necessity was the mother of invention. Yeah, definitely. I'm very much scared of the online sphere, but there was nothing happening. Our industry ceased to exist for a couple of years, and so I put my voices skills to the use that I could find for them, which was doing these little, because Twitter back in the day had a time limit of 2 minutes 20 on videos, and so I would make a 2 minute 20 summary of a whole series of something, and I started off doing old Doctor Who's from the 60s, but then that became, I did one of The Crown series 3 and that, or series 4, and that kind of did well. I had a good weekend on the internet with that one, and then sort of followed that up with, it was almost like going back to a time where there were only 3 channels and you knew what everyone would have watched the night before, and you could make reference to it. That obviously we're so far away from that, we're so atomized now. But during the pandemic, it was the case of most people are now watching telly again, and they're mostly watching the same thing. So you could find a show like Queen's Gambit or Bridgerton or Line of Duty or what have you, or The Crown, and there will be enough people out there wanting to gobble up some content about it, and that became my life for a few months. And
it's a great calling card, because as much as you sort of modestly said there were bad impressions or whatever, they are largely very, very good impressions, I'd say, of all the characters in those things, and politics as well. You did a really fun one with the election, which I watched again today, which is all about, which we'll all have forgotten about, the Sunak being rained on and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and the betting scandal. Do you remember that? All that kind of stuff. So ancient history.
Yeah, but it's again an interesting little microcosm. But yeah, did it break you more? I mean, you've been going for a while, since 2007.
Sure, yeah.
But I know, cause, you'd obviously done a few years of Edinburgh and been nominated for awards in Edinburgh before that. But is that what? I mean, maybe it didn't lead to the Flash if you had already done the Flash, had you, by that point?
I think it didn't hinder the Flash.
No, okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been at it for however long, 15 years now, as a pro, and really feeling the roller coaster, the good years, the bad years, and the moments where you feel like there's some traction, and then the moments where you really feel the traction's gone. And like the first time I had a really good Edinburgh in 2015, there was traction then, and then it went away. And then, the 6 months of doing all the videos, I got loads of amazing auditions and then failed to actually get the parts in any other than The Flash. So that traction now I feel has become history again, and I'm waiting for the next period.
Well, I mean,
just sort of soldiering on.
But it's also interesting looking at your CV and looking at IMDb. I mean, you've been in a lot of things, and there are things that I think I was aware of before as well. So you played Prince Andrew in Prince Andrew the musical,
yes, and
wrote
the songs for that. Yes, that was a fun project to be in. The Independent described it as this program should never have been made, which is a great review. I didn't read the ones from the Mail and the Sun. Apparently, the one in the Mail said that everyone involved should be put in prison.
It's good that they're more upset by the program than Prince Andrew.
Yeah. I think I didn't read them, but apparently there were accusations of sort of treason in those,
right?
Which was fine, which is fun. I mean, it was interesting doing so because my usual live shows are sort of nice to the point of blandness, and this was, very much not nice. This was going near something decidedly, I mean, icky is a weak way of putting it, and sort of like villainous and thoroughly like traumatic is another. And trying to make something that was funny, that was on the side of the angels, was tricky. Maybe we didn't quite get the balance right. I don't know. That's for others to decide. But it was an accident of history that I got put in charge of writing a musical, because I'm not trained in that way. I'm not even a musical comedian. Like I'm not even someone who comes on stage and, plays like Flo and Jonah or whatever. I literally did some unaccompanied a cappella comedy songs in my live shows. Some people at Hat Trick thought, oh, that'll do, and then they said, and then they came up with Prince Andrew the musical, and they said, Channel 4, do you want to do Prince Andrew the musical? And Channel 4 were like, something controversial and mad, great. They were like, but who will do it? And they were like, I think Kieran. And then so it was a pure fluke that I got to do it, and my fear was A, immorality, and B, all the musical theatre people like coming to burn my house down. I got this opportunity that they had spent their lives dreaming of. But hey, it's a crazy biz.
Well, you're the second person I've interviewed who's played Prince Andrew. The other one is Michael Sheen.
Oh wow! Yeah, how did he make his way in?
It's good. It's worth listening to. I also have played Prince Andrew through the form of a puppet. So I have a Prince Andrew puppet. So I can't say I played him because he's autonomous.
But did you do the voice?
Yeah, I tried to. Well, he does the voice himself. The puppet.
Oh right, okay.
That was my lockdown project. was becoming a ventriloquist. So it's interesting to see different takes on that.
Yeah, and that interview is relentlessly returned to by various. There was a film, and then there was
Well, there were two films of the interview. I think the Michael Sheen one was the better. I mean, Michael Sheen's pretty good. I think
he's all right. He's going places.
I haven't seen your Prince Andrew, but I reckon his was better. That's my guess.